Welcome to Mindful Leadership, Transforming Lives, with your host, Singh. This is where leadership meets purpose, presence, and passion. In today's fast paced, high pressure world, we face a leadership crisis. Too often, teams are led by managers who lack empathy, clarity, and vision, leaving individuals uninspired, disconnected, and undervalued. But it doesn't have to be this way. Great leadership isn't born, it's built. The end game: empower your leadership, inspire the world. Every week, join me, your host Singh, as we tackle the gaps in leadership and life coaching head on, learning how mindfulness, emotional intelligence, and compassion can redefine success. This isn't just another podcast, it's a mission to fill the void left by ineffective leadership. And it's not just about leadership in business. Life coaching for leaders and new executives is at heart of this journey. Ready to rise above the noise and lead with clarity, purpose, and impact? Join a global movement dedicated to reshaping the future of leadership, one mindful moment at a time. Let's begin.
Welcome back to another episode of Mindful Leadership Transforming Lives on the Transformation Network, the podcast where we turn stress into strategy, overthinking into clarity, and overwhelm into momentum. I'm your host, Singh, the leadership coach who knows growth does not come from burnout, it comes from alignment. So let's begin. Most strategic planning sessions don't fail because of bad data. They fail because the people in the room are reacting from anxiety, ego, or yesterday's identity, not from clarity. What do I mean? So ponder this right with me. It is Q4, strategic planning, the annual ritual. There is a conference room booked for the entire day. Catering, a whiteboard in today's size of a movie screen. Sticky notes, somehow always teal and orange, and fanned out like a Vegas card dealer. And of course, the deck: 47 slides of cuts, bullet points so dense they could legally be considered a wall. Now let's look around the room. The head of sale is on their fourth coffee, not making strategy, but making threats. Your head of product hasn't slept since Tuesday, defending last quarter's miss like it is a war crime. And well, your CFO is doing what CFO do best, quietly judging everyone with a calculator. And well, your CEO, bless them, is talking about vision while checking Slack under the table. 8 hours later, you walk out of that room with what exactly? You think a plan or a beautifully designed momentum to everyone's anxiety. And here's the kicker: you do it all over again. Same room, same coffee, same teal sticky notes, different sentences, same outcome. Because most strategic planning is not strategic, it is reactive. We have taken the most important conversation in the entire business, the one about where we are going, and we handed it to most stressed out, under caffeinated, ego bruised version of ourselves. So today we change that. Today we don't just plan smarter, we plan stiller, because strategy without stillness is just speed in a suit. Let me tell you what I see in 20 years of working with leadership teams. The companies with best plans, they are not the ones with smartest analysts. They are the ones with prettiest dashboards. But they are the ones whose leaders know how to slow their own nervous system down before they pick up a pen. Because here's the truth that nobody tells you in business school: your strategic plan is a mirror. It will reflect whatever state of mind you walked into that room with. Walk in anxious, you will get defensive plan. Walk in egoic, you will get vanity plan. Walk in clear, you will get a plan that actually moves the business. So there are three hidden forces that hijack almost every planning session I have ever sat in. And once you can name them, you can stop them. Because you know what we talk about mindfulness, right? Mindfulness is to get in the moment, understand what is going on. The moment you name it, your brain accepts it and does not treat that as a threat. So the first one, what I call the ghost of last quarter. So this is the leader who walks into the room still litigating last quarter's loss. They're not planning forward, they're defending backward. Every idea is filtered through, but what about the thing that went wrong? See, strategy is forward facing. Defensiveness is backward facing. You cannot do both at the same time. Then the second one, the performance, right? This is a leader who knows the boss is in the room. So every word, every sentence, every action, every emotion they share is auditioning for promotion, not contributing ideas, just staging. The room becomes the theater and the plan becomes fiction. So if your team is performing, they're not planning. They are acting, and actors don't build companies. And then, third, my favorite, and the most dangerous one, the identity trap. This is the leader whose identity is fused to a particular product, to a particular project, to a particular initiative, to a particular quarter. Any strategic shift feels like a personal attack. Why? Because their ego is welded to that outcome. I once worked with this CMO who spent 4 hours of a planning session quietly torpedoing every idea that did not include her pet program. She was not being difficult, she was just being human. Her identity had merged with that program. So killing the program felt like killing her. My friends, strategic planning is not a meeting, it is a state. And the leader's job before everyone touches a marker is to set the state of that conversation, of that room, of that team. Now, regular listeners know I talk often about inner compass journey. It is the foundation of everything I teach. And today, I want to apply it directly to strategic planning. Three simple layers, right? Clarity, alignment, action. In that order, always in that order. Clarity before the plan. Clarity is the question we never ask before we start planning. What state am I actually in right now? Because whatever state you are in is the foundation of every decision you are about to make. So try this with me right now, wherever you're listening. Inhale for 4 seconds, hold for 4, and exhale for 6. What I am bringing into the decision, ask that question. Are you bringing fact or are you bringing fear in the decision? And that is it. That's the whole practice. I call it the 60-second compass check. 60 seconds before any planning meeting, any major decision, any tough conversation happens. Because once you have clarity, then you can work on alignment during the plan. So, clarity before the plan, okay? Alignment during the plan. Simple question we forget halfway through every conversation, every planning session. Are we still pointing at the right thing? Or did we shift toward the loudest voice in the room? See, strategic drift is real. It happens in every hour of every planning session. A part of room gets louder, a part of room gets quieter, and suddenly the loudest opinion becomes the strategy. And here is the mindful pivot. Every 45 minutes in a planning session, you call a strategic silence. 2 minutes, no talking, no scrolling, everyone writes one sentence. And here is the magic question, the alignment question. If we did exactly what is on the whiteboard for next 12 months, would we be more aligned with our purpose or just busier? Let it stay with you. Then you read the sentence out loud, not decisions, no judgment, just data points. You will be amazed how often the room snaps back into focus. So you get clarity before the plan, you get alignment during the plan, and then comes action. Action is the question we never ask after we have finished the plan. Who is this plan asking us to become? Because something I have noticed in my coaching practice, in almost every strategic plan I see, is asking the team to execute as if they already are someone that they are not yet. The plan demands a leader who delegates better, a team that communicates faster, a culture that is more accountable, none of which currently exists. So, mindful planning includes the identity question. Who do we have to become? By behavior, by habit, by structure, to make this plan real. If you cannot answer that, you don't have a plan. You just have a wish list. That's where I started. Most plans fail not because the strategy was wrong, but because nobody planned the identity shift required to execute it. I'm not going to tell you to meditate for 45 minutes before your planning meeting. You won't do it. I won't do it. Let's both agree right now that we are not joining a monastery this week, right? Instead, I'm giving you three tools: small, sharp, and something that is embeddable in your team. Each one takes less than 5 minutes. Each one can change the entire texture of your strategic planning. And if you can embody these three simple tools, you will have an execution plan every week of your life. So let's look at it. So the first one is the pre compass check. 60-second solo. Before you walk into any planning meeting, and I challenge you to, before you walk into any meeting, you do a 60-second check by yourself. Three simple questions. What state am I in right now? Am I calm? Am I reactive? Am I defensive? Am I hungry? Right? What state am I in right now? The second, what outcome am I attached to? And is that attachment serving the company or just my ego? And the third one, if I were the wisest version of myself, what would I want to hear in this room today? See, 60 seconds, you will walk into the room different. When the leader walks in different, the room becomes different. The second one is the strategic silence. Every 45 minutes during any meeting, especially planning sessions, you call a strategic silence. 2 minutes, no phones, no talking. Everyone writes one sentence on an index card. Actually, write, what is the most important thing I have not said yet? And what is stopping me? When you collect the cards, read them anonymously without comment, just data. I promise you, the introverts on your team are sitting on at least three insights that have not surfaced because the loudest voice ate the oxygen. The strategic silence gives them air. And the third one, my favorite one, the empty chair. At the end of every planning session, you put an empty chair at the table. And before anyone leaves the room, you go around and answer this. If our most honest customer were sitting in this chair right now, the one who has nothing to gain and nothing to lose, the one that we are applying this for, what would they say about the plan which you built? See, this single question has saved more strategic plans than any consultant I've ever worked with because it's pull you out of your internal echo chamber and forces you to plan from the outside, which is, by the way, where customer actually lives. See, compass check, strategic silence, empty chair. Three tools. Total cost, about 8 minutes per meeting, per planning session, and total return, a plan that is actually rooted in reality. Let me tell you about a CEO. Let's just call him Marcus, mid-sized logistics company, about 400 people, solid business. But every January, their strategic plan session was, in his own words, 3 days of polite warfare. When Marcus and I started working together, I asked him a strange question. I said, Marcus, what state of mind do you walk into your planning session in? He laughed and he said, Singh, by the time I sit down on day one, I've had four espressos, two arguments, a fight from Chicago. I'm not in a state, I'm hostage. So I asked him to change only one thing. The morning of every meeting, big meeting, planning session, Marcus would do these three things and only three things for 30 minutes before walking into that room. 10 minutes of silence, no phone, no news, just sitting. A 60-second compass check using the three questions from the tool one handwritten page answering. What does this company need from me today that nobody else can give it? Same coffee, same conference room, same team, same teal sticky notes. The first year they did this, Marcus told me their planning session ended 4 hours earlier and produced what he called the first plan we ever actually believed in. 12 months later, that plan delivered a 31% revenue lift in their fastest growing segment. The plan did not change, the state changed. And from the right state, the right plan finally became visible. You don't need a better strategy framework. You need a better state of mind walking into the framework. All right, let's take a breath with me. Here's the reframe. I want you to live with this simple thing. A mindful strategic plan is not a slower plan, it is a sharper plan. Because the speed of your business is not determined by how fast you talk in planning meetings. It is determined by how clear you are when you live it. I said before, strategy is a mirror. The mirror is going to show you whatever you walk in with. So question is not how do we make a plan better? The question is how do I become someone who plans don't need to rescue in March? See my point? So before your next planning meeting, any planning meeting, even small ones, do this. Block 5 minutes on your calendar before the meeting, not after, before. In those 5 minutes, run the pre-planning compass check, the three questions from tool one, and write one sentence at the bottom of your notebook. The state I am bringing into this room is what? Then walking, that's it. That is the whole move. Do this for next 30 days and you will not recognize the quality of decisions coming out of your meetings. Same team, same room. Now here's the thing. Compass check works. The strategic silence works. The empty chair works. But all three of them get exponentially powerful when you know exactly what you are checking against. Because here is what I have learned coaching hundreds of leaders. Most of you don't have a strategy problem, you have a clarity problem. You don't know precisely what energies, you don't know precisely what drains you. You don't know precisely what kind of environment turns you into your best and your worst leadership self. And without that clarity, every compass check is just guessing in nicer clothes. That is why I want to invite you to take the purpose factor assessment. Less than 25 minutes, science backed diagnostic that gives you crystal clear insight into three things: what truly drives you, what consistently drains you, and the blind spots you don't see, but your team and people around you absolutely feel. Now, once you have that clarity, every moment of life changes. Every strategic decision changes because you're no longer planning from fog, you're planning from your operating system, your clarity. Find the link in today's show notes. DM me on LinkedIn the words curious leader. I will send you to it directly, along with details on a private one on one result session I do with leaders who complete it. Remember, great leaders don't plan louder, they plan stiller. They walk into the room with a regulated nervous system, a clear purpose, and the discipline to ask the questions nobody else in the room is brave enough to ask. Now, that is the work. That is the practice. That is mindful strategic planning. If today's episode landed, share it with one leader who is heading into a planning session this quarter. Save them the four espressos and the time that is wasted trying to get through that whole conversation. Today, we install a new operating system. Strategic planning that is rooted in stillness, sharpened by purpose, and is structured for clarity. We don't slow strategy down, we make it unshakable. Because remember, your next step is the purpose factor assessment. Link is in the show notes. Thank you for spending this time with me. Keep breathing, keep planning from clarity, keep leading from inside out. I'm saying you are listening to Mindful Leadership Transforming Lives on the Transformation Network, and we will see you in the next episode.
Thank you for watching Mindful Leadership Transforming Lives. With me, your host, Singh. We are honored to have you join us on this journey to explore the transformative power of mindfulness, emotional intelligence, and authentic leadership. Tune in every week on transformationtalkradio.com at noon Pacific on Tuesdays, where we will continue to explore how mindful leadership can create a ripple effect of positive changes in your life and lives of those you influence. This show is dedicated to helping you lead with purpose, presence, and passion. Whether you're navigating the complexities of business, building strong connection with your team, or striving to make a meaningful impact in the world around you. To learn more about the show, access additional resources, or dive deeper, visit singpowerupcoach.com. Remember, leadership isn't just about what you do, it's about who you are. Let's continue to transform lives together, one mindful moment at a time. See you next week.